Welcome everyone and welcome to the seminar Mastering Collaboration in the Cloud, presented by both me, Scott Burke, and Matt Miyamoto. So we're going to start with some brief introductions here. So again, my name is Scott Burke. I'm the AC Cloud Solutions Program Manager here at Imaginet, and I work with all our teams in relation to the Autodesk Cloud Solutions. So I work on implementations, planning of implementations, and also supporting our clients and helping our internal techs to be better with the Autodesk Cloud Solutions. And I'll also have Matt introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Miyamoto, and I'll be presenting with Scott today, covering some of the civil infrastructure related cloud collaboration features. I'm a civil engineer with about 20 years of industry experience. Started out as a civil designer and then moved into the Autodesk partner channel as an application specialist, working with Civil 3D and infrastructure products. I'm currently the ISD project manager for Imaginet Consulting Services in North America.
All right, thank you, Matt. So we'll move on here. I want to first start with some industry context. So again, business needs are changing, as we already know, and this is even before COVID, of course. We need to stay competitive and we need to differentiate our businesses with the cloud technologies that are currently available to us. So again, with the Autodesk Cloud Solutions, it's all about first continuity. So with the cloud, we can work from anywhere. We can keep everything in a common data environment so that everyone can adapt to the changes quickly because everything is in one common place. The next part, of course, is clarity. We have connected ecosystems across the entire project lifecycle, so we can stay organized, we can coordinate the exchange of handover of information to other parties and so on. And ultimately, it's all about the visibility. The project management can see everything in one single place. They can use tools for risk mitigation and predict the outcomes of our projects. So we also want to think about designing smarter, building faster. And we're able to enable data-driven collaboration across all teams and projects here. So again, with the cloud, everything is going to be connected. We can connect teams, tools, and data to maximize the efficiencies and avoid rework. It's flexible in the fact that we can work in both horizontal and vertical projects and collaborate near real time here. And it's powerful, of course, because we can have a secure, centralized place to store all of our data. So again, what we're talking about today, of course, is BIM Collaborate Pro, which again allows you to anytime, anywhere collaboration. So when we look at the evolution of design collaboration right now, so no matter what platform you're using, whether it be Revit, Civil, even Plant 3D, it's kind of limited collaboration. You're keeping everything within your own firewall, and then you kind of talk to your users internally, but that's it. There's no easy way to transfer data to other outside entities other than Dropbox or similar tools like that, SharePoint and such. And if you're in an enterprise environment, meaning you have a single firm, but you have lots of different locations and things like that, then you have to look into investing in expensive hardware, riverbed solutions, Panzura, and the data exchange can be kind of slow, and it's still a single firm. If we start looking at Autodesk Collaboration, BIM Collaborate Pro, though, basically we can now collaborate against multiple projects, multiple stakeholders. All the data is in one place. It can be managed. We can control who can see what. It's a very collaborative environment, but at the same time, still very secure. So what is BIM Collaborate Pro? So again, a previous life before this, it was called BIM 360 Design, which gave you access to BIM 360 docs, and another separate module you could buy would be BIM 360 Model Coordination. So now that's been renamed and rebranded as BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro. So with BIM Collaborate Pro, especially the Pro part, that's about the work anywhere, anytime with collaboration or authoring the models in the cloud. The models that we design and work on are held in the cloud, and that works for both Revit, Civil, what we're talking about today, and then of also Plant 3D as well. So all of this is built, in this case, around the new unified platform, although you still have access to BIM 360 if necessary. And we have Autodesk Docs as the document management foundation. The next level up is BIM Collaborate, which is basically all the web portal tools. And BIM Collaborate Pro gives you the extra function of that first piece here, which is being able to work anytime and author models in the cloud. And again, depending on the platform you're using, you can get access to that information on laptops or anywhere where you have Wi-Fi, essentially. So again, that big part of the Pro here is about that co-authoring projects across disciplines and having everything in a single place. So we can have Revit here, Civil, Plant 3D, all in a common environment and work together. And because we have all this data in this one place, we can share this information very easily with other external companies, other partners, consultants that we're working with. So again, we can have everything in that centralized platform. So we can centrally manage all the data. We have access, anywhere we can share feedback, view insights, detect clashes anywhere you have Wi-Fi with your laptop. And again, we can understand the latest changes in our models, manage the design data exchange. We have automated clash detection, create and track issues, automatically publish the updates to the team, and the team can be notified of those. There's a lot of powerful tools within this environment. So again, if we look at Autodesk BIM Collaborate comes with Docs, which then has all the issue management, our reviews, transmittals. Then we can go into design collaboration where we can manage the swim lane. So with just a Collaborate license, you can see what the design team is doing. You don't participate in the design, but you have very high level of transparency into what they've released to the team. Then we have model coordination, which is a new feature that's now available in Collaborate, which of course is the automated clash detection. And then when you go to BIM Collaborate Pro, that gets you the Revit cloud work sharing and the collaboration for Civil 3D, again, managing all your models and storing all your files in the cloud and working on those models in the cloud. So again, your employees can be in the office, they can be at home, they could be on a job site trailer, anywhere where they have their laptop and a solid internet connection, they can be working on the design and see that information. So let's first dive into BIM 360 Docs and also the Revit collaboration, or I should say not BIM 360 Docs, but Autodesk Docs. Is hard to get past that habit there. So again, it's Autodesk Docs and BIM Collaborate Pro, the Revit collaboration side of things. And again, it's all about collaboration, communication, and coordination. So the first part, of course, is collaborate anywhere, anytime. So I can create my projects and invite different people, different firms into this secure environment. I control who has access to the projects, what they can see, what they can do within that environment. So one of the key features here is, of course, the permissioning control. That's very powerful in the BIM 360 environment. I can control access to folders and projects based on someone's name, the company they work for, or what their job function is, such as project manager, site superintendent, architect, engineer, and so forth. So if we actually jump into the solution here, I'm now in the BIM 360 Docs area, as you can see here. That's where everything starts. And I set up a folder structure that works for my project. The folder structure is up to you, whatever you want to use here. So I've created my folders for my architectural team, my civil team, my MEP team, and my structural team. If I look at the architectural team and I go to the permissions here, I can see that both myself and Matt, who are considered project admins, we have full access to this folder. And this is the Imagine It architectural team, let's say. If I look at the civil team, Matt is our civil engineer, so he has access to that, and I have access again because I am the project manager for this project. Now we look at the MEP team, me and Matt have access because again, we're project admins, but I've given John Jones access as he is our MEP engineer and the structural manager here on the structural team. I've given permissions here for Sam Smith to have the same level of access for this folder here. So you can edit, upload files, and so on. Now, if I look at my coordination models folder, I want both Sam Smith and John Jones to be able to upload their models so that we can do our clash detection and such. So within this folder here, I would need to then add the permissions of both John Jones and Sam Smith to this folder so that they can perform these functions. I can share that with them, allow them to upload files into that. So again, I can select add here. In this case, I want anyone at the MEP company to be able to upload files. So I'm going to pick the MEP company. And then I'm going to select a permission here to allow them to upload files, and I'll add that permission. Then, well, I know I only want to give Sam Smith personally access to this, or maybe my structural engineer. So when I hit add here, I could go structural, just to do a search, and say the structural engineer, whoever the structural engineer is going to have that same level of uploading and creating and so on here. So there we go. So see, I have changed the access to this folder either by a user's name, the function that that person is, their job title, structural engineer, or the company they work for. And then I have lots of fine tuning here. I could let them upload, view only, upload only. There's many different options here for sharing that data. So now I have that kind of secure area here for them to go ahead and work in this space, upload files. I've given them the appropriate permission for that there. Let me just close that to get it out of the way. There we go. So that's that first part that I was talking about, is that strict or very flexible permission control here. The next part on the Revit side is the managed collaboration. So that's using these swim lanes and my design packages, and I'm able to share the information with the team, and I'm also able to analyze 2 and 3D changes in the model. So again, I'm going to start here with a empty Revit file. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start a new file here. Oops, go back. And I'm going to go new, and I'm just going to use a standard template. And when I take this file, and this is going to be my new project I want to collaborate. So all I have to do right now is go over here to File, Save as a Cloud Model. It's going to bring up the interface here to allow me to select my project and where I'd like to place that. I'll go into the appropriate company that I was in, my own company here. Then I can do a search here for my projects. I would go into my project files, and I would go into the folder that I've been given access to write my models into, the architectural team. And I'm going to call this one the West Wing, East Wing here. Call it East Wing. And I'll save that file there. So I'm saving this in the cloud, but I'm actually still using Autodesk Docs right now. I'm not actually using my Collaborate Pro license because I'm still in single user mode, right? I don't have work sharing on. So I'm just saving the model in the cloud in my template, and it's going to be, relatively empty, of course. So that's now finished. So I'm working in the cloud, and I can continue working this way if it's just me and no one else working on the project. But the second I turn on work sharing, it just lets you know, oh, well, if you turn work sharing on and you just have to say, check all these things to prove you know what you're doing, that now we're using BIM 360 Design, or in this case, they still haven't updated the name, as you can see here. They're using BIM Collaborate Pro is what we're now using by hitting enable here. So now I'm actually using cloud work sharing. I have now moved from my Docs license essentially to my BIM Collaborate Pro license, because now I'm collaborating in the cloud. This file is now in the cloud. I don't even think about central files or local files anymore. It all is managed by the system. I can still save the central, which updates the cloud model with my changes. And if I save locally, it just updates the local cache files that I don't even manage as well. And then again, it's the still same scenario. Save the central, everyone sees it. Save locally, it's just for me until I'm ready to share it with the team. But that's literally it. Then when I come in tomorrow morning, I want to go work in my file. I go over here to BIM 360, select that, pick my project, navigate to the folder I want to open, and then I can go ahead and open up that file right here. I can open up the West Wing or the East Wing or whatever file I want to open that I've basically shared in this environment. And just click on it and open it. Done. And I just continue working on it. Again, not worrying about a central file, not worrying about a local file. The system manages the entire process there. So quite frankly, I find it much easier to use BIM Collaborate Pro to work in Revit than to work and share my model locally on the network somewhere. I find this actually to be far more efficient and quicker. So the next part, of course, is the web portal, the ability to track all my design changes and such. So what's nice about this tool here, when I go over from Docs, I now move to my Design Collaboration tab. So both Collaborate and Collaborate Pro users have access to this tab. Again, what's different with Collaborate Pro is the cloud work sharing mechanism. So right here, I'm looking at this as the persona of the MEP team. And the MEP team has seen that the architect has a 50% submission that they've given to the team. So what's nice about this is that you don't live link your models, which is really not the best way to work. You only link in models that have been vetted, that they're ready to be shared with the team. So here on March 18th, the architects shared their 50% review model with the team. That means that you're ready to use that. You link that into your project and you start working. Then at a later date and time, there was a 75% completion model that was submitted to the team. And then you hit the button to consume it, and then it updates your background. So again, the nice thing here is there's 2 levels of control. The architect or the designers only release their model to the team when it's ready to be used. And the users of those models that use these models as backgrounds, your background will only update when you actually come in here and consciously hit this consume button, which would then update your background file. So what's nice is it's a highly collaborative environment, yet at the same time, it's very controlled, and you only see the things that you need to see when they're ready to be shared with the team. And that's the key part of this. So again, what's also nice about the swim lanes here is if I pick the 100% complete right here, I can hit, well, what changed between the 75% complete and the 100% complete? And I hit show changes. As soon as I do that, I get a nice visualization here of all the changes in the model. So everything's color coded based on how they were changed in the model here. Let me just rotate that a little bit. There we go. So first I can isolate this to be just the things that were added. Oh, they added a door there. So that's the only thing that was added between the 75% and 100%. What was removed from the model? Oh, these shelving units here were removed from the model. Okay. What was modified? Well, these elements here were modified. And what I like about the modified objects is if I select one of them, like this door, and I can see, well, on the 31st, it was here. And then on April 5th, it was moved over to there, and the same with this wall. If I pick the wall, it used to be there, and it's been moved here. And this works in both 2 and 3D. I can exit the changes, for instance. I can go to my sheets that the architect has shared with the team for viewing purposes, go into the main level, hit show changes here, and I can do the same visualization, but in a plan. And again, I can zoom in and I can see the change elements right here. And just like before, I can pick them. I can see where the element was and where the element is. And of course, all the Revit properties are there. So again, non-Revit users can even come in here and get all this information about the model. But now I really do understand, all the changes that really happened here. So I can exit the changes there and just get back into this viewing the set that the architect has shared with the extended team. So that can be done with all these models. So very powerful tool to really understand what was submitted to me from the other partners, what was changed, and no one has to tell me what those changes are. I can see those for myself. So this right here is probably one of the most powerful tools in all of the Collaborate environment, is that ability to share these packages with the team, understand all the changes, when these changes were made, and so on there. Moving on, we also have the ability, and this is more really docs than even the Collaborate Pro side of things. All of this is just docs, the ability to track issues, share markups, create review workflows, send transmittals. So again, if I just move over from design collaboration into just docs, I may want to have some design communications with my team internally. So my project manager could come in here and he's going to review the architectural model that's in progress right here. And he was talking to the client, he was reviewing the document, and he noticed that there were some code issues. So right here, there was a minor code issue where we needed an additional egress door down here. So the project manager marked this up using these markup tools here. He then used the issue tool here to place an issue. He assigned that issue to the person on the team that needs to fix that. So that was assigned to me. Building code requires a new door in this location. So now I understand what the request is, and I have to get it done by the 18th of May, which is the due date. So I go ahead and I update the drawing. I upload a new version, and then I mark this as pending. And then that goes back to the person who created this, and they get notified that the issue that they assigned them is now pending. They will be notified of that. They can review it, confirm that it was done properly, and then close the issue. Then at the same time, I need to communicate with my civil engineer. So on my site plan over here, the client has requested that we add to this grassy area that we originally had here some employee parking. So again, I added this note, added this markup, and I created this issue and assigned this issue to Matt. So I want to communicate with the civil engineer right through here that, hey, could you add on the civil design accommodations here for a parking area and the appropriate draining and striping and all the things that's required for that. So again, I'm using this tool as a way to manage communications with the extended team. I can go to issues here. I can see all the communication and all the issues that we've had with the extended team in this environment. I have other functions as well. If I go back to files, besides that communication mechanism there, which is another hugely powerful part of this, is that central place to communicate with everyone on the extended team. Maybe I'm getting to a point where I need to take a drawing and say that this drawing needs to be approved before we can open it, print it to PDF, and use it as the official construction documents. So maybe that's happening with the MEP file. I'm going to take this MEP file and push it through a review. So I'm going to submit this for a review. I'm going to select an approval workflow. Maybe I'm going to use the issued for construction workflow. I'll just call it final review. And I'll add in there MEP. That's what this one is, final MEP review. It's just the name of this review. There's the file that's going to be included. I start the review process. It shows me who the first reviewer, if I had multiple names in here, I could pick which one I'd want to use as a reviewer. I'll use Sam Smith, and I'll just send him a notification to review this. So now he gets a notification that he's been assigned to a review. He goes to the review section. He sees that he has been assigned to the review here. So he goes into this review area there. Oops, do not reboot. So again, we'll go into the review area. Oops, let's go back one. We'll see that we need a review. He's going to start the review. So he claims it, starts the review process here. He can now open the drawing. He could add markups, issues if he needs to mark up anything here, both in the 3D view, and then of course he can go into the 2D sheet views and look at the plans, mark things up if necessary, or if everything just looks good, he can add some comments and you can say looks good right now, no issues. And I pass that, I add that note in there, and I submit my review. It goes to the next person automatically. So this is the next person that needs to review that. I'll send a notification to that person. The same thing happens. That person comes in, starts the second review because there are two people required to review the document. They add their own comment, still looks good. This is the second person adding comments there, markups, whatever. So that's good. And anyone coming in here, see, oh, there's two issues here, everything looks good. They're going to submit the review back to the review manager. The review manager is now going to be able to see this review. So they come in here, he starts the final review. He can look at any comments, any questions. Hey, this all looks good to me. So I can start that review there. This looks fine, and I can take this and then give this the final review here. So I take this and I would then select my appropriate review. It's approved. Submit the review. It is now an approved document. The review is now closed. And now the review shows as closed here. You can see there's now a closed review. And if I go back into the files folder once again, and I take a look at that document, so we go into the MEP team and we look at this document, we can see that the status of it here, review status, is approved for construction. It's completed. Now let's say I also want to prove that I've sent some documents to someone in the system. So maybe I'll go into my general project documents here. I have some spec files or anything that I basically need to essentially share with the team here. So I go into my specifications folder, and maybe I have several files in here that I just need to basically send to someone and prove that I've sent them. So maybe I pick these three files right here, which are all at version 1, and I will create a transmittal. Give this an, document specs for review. This is the title of it, specs for review. And I enter in the recipient, so I need my Matt to review these. And I save that. And then I just hit create. I can put a message in there too. So that's basically just a transmittal, a proof of transmittal. That person gets a notification that they've been sent a transmittal. They can select the link in the email, come in here to the transmittals. They see that there's an available transmittal right there. It's just, again, a record of what was sent, in this case, to Matt. He can open it, and then he can hit export a report, and he can also come in here, and it'll take a minute, because I just created this, you'll be able to download a zip file of these 3 documents. So you have essentially proof that they were transmitted, because here's the details. I sent it on this date, and the recipient right here received it on that date. So there's proof that this has been sent out as essentially a transmittal. So that's how that tool works. So again, another tool that's kind of new to the people who are using BIM 360 Design, and this is available both in Collaborate and of course Collaborate Pro, is the ability to do automatic clash detection. So I'm able to automatically detect clash between the different trades, group clashes by objects, and assign the clashes to people to be resolved. So again, back in the system here, I can look at my files area first, because I have a folder that I've designated as a collaboration space. So in my design models, I've shared this folder with the extended team. This is where everyone uploads their civil models for civil pipe coordination in this case, and there's my master model right there that I'm doing coordination against. Then when I go to my model coordination tab here, it shows me only the 3D views that have been dropped in that specific folder. And then if I go into any save views that I have, so I have a save view here called civil and structure. So I go into that, and I can see here any clashes that I still have not yet to resolve. So here are the 2 models. I'll look at my clashes. And right now I have some clashes with the basic wall and this element right here, that kind of drain or a manhole vault there. And I have another drain pipe here going through the wall. So that's an issue. That's something that I need to assign to someone to resolve, right? So I could just come in here, select this, create an issue, put an issue marker here on that object there. And then it's creating the issue right here. So it's looking at the object that I've selected. It's pulling data out of it. It's taking a nice screen cap of this view so people can see this issue in context and also see this on reports. It automatically lists this as a coordination clash. It's an open view. Here is the title. It actually gives me the Revit ID number so I could find the object in Revit to move or fix it, or find the object inside of on civil drawing there. And then down here, I can assign this to someone to fix. So I need my civil engineer to move that. If I have location details, I'll just say this is just on the general site somewhere, and I need this due or finish by, let's say, the 20th, so the drawing has to be updated by then. And I'm done. This issue has now been assigned to Matt to essentially resolve. And again, I can look at any issues that are already in play right now. So here's a clash right here. So I found a clash at the loading dock area, also assigned to Matt. You can see where that drainage pipe is just going right through the walls there, and we'll need to move that because that was an existing condition that was modeled here. We're trying to figure out what we need to move. So again, I'd have a nice, controlled, organized way to assign these issues to the people, the stakeholders who need to resolve them, and then they can respond to me when they're completed. They can come in here and update a new drawing that's been fixed, and then set this as pending. I'll be notified, and I can review that and then close the issue if it's been closed. And again, it's very easy for me to come in here and just pick any model. Hey, I just want to take a look at between ducts and structure, and I'll just view that. Automatically just does the clashing. I didn't have to do anything. Here are all the clashes. Now I can start going in and finding all the clashes in my project, identifying them, and then assigning them to people to be resolved. So a very powerful yet really easy to use tool within the Collaborate Pro environment. And again, this is available to everyone, the civil engineers, Plant 3D users, Revit, of course, all of those. All right. And the last part here, and again, this spans everything, is the insight. And this is just the ability to look at our project and get kind of a dashboard, a 1,000-foot view, if you will, of the project. So I go over here to Insight, and that takes me to my project dashboard, where I can see a summary of current issues, past due issues, weather on the job site right now, if that's something that we have, different types of risks. So in this case, if we're looking for just a design point of view, we're just going to have design risk. So I have 3 code compliance issues. I have 7 documentation incomplete issues, 5 issues that are overdue. So there's a little risk here, which is why it's yellow. They're indicating that not major risk, but there are some problems with this project. Is my design issue trend. So I'm creating a lot more issues than I'm resolving, as you can see here. And how many issues do I have per the different companies, coordination issue statuses, which would be, I have 7 clash issues and so on. coordination issues by company, coordination issues active versus closed. So I haven't closed any yet, but I've just opened a few of them. So this is just that master dashboard for your project. I can, of course, come in here and then create reports, and I could have a scheduled issue report that's sent out to everyone on the team that once a week, I have a scheduled report that's sent out here. So if I come in here and I look at some of these reports, I can come in there and I can manage the schedule for them if they're scheduled. So this one is every week. And you can see right there, it's Monday and Friday at 8 a.m., from April 15th on. So I can see these different dates, these different scheduled tasks that I have, in my project here. Here are my templates where I can actually go in and edit that template or edit the schedule. And I say, oh, I'd rather have this run every day or once a week or once every 3 weeks, whatever. And I get a nice PDF report that will show images on it of photos. It'll list all the details about the issues. That I have that paper trail of all of that. And all of this is done in the Insight tab, both through the dashboard and, of course, with the reporting mechanism that's built into the software. So with that, I'd like to hand this over to Matt now, so he can go over some of the Civil 3D components of collaboration here. So the floor is yours, Matt.
Thank you, Scott. And now that we've seen some of the cloud collaboration tools in action, let's take a look at some of the key capabilities that also apply to workflows involving Civil 3D. Collaboration is the main theme of our presentation, and when we look at ways to leverage the Autodesk Construction Cloud services from an infrastructure perspective, we're going to focus on ways to enhance our collaborative workflows with our design partners and expanding outside of our company walls. Having access to a centralized location for file sharing helps streamline some of the existing data sharing workflows between Revit and Civil 3D, and also provides some new enhanced features that can be leveraged directly within the application. A secure non-network location also provides access to collaborators outside of our organization without the hassle of additional IT measures. And the ability to communicate concerns, relay design changes, and coordinate model information within a unified cloud project provide key features for collaborating in the cloud. So in order to collaborate successfully, we need a secure, accessible data hub that supports Autodesk product workflows. Now, unlike file storage providers, Autodesk Docs provides a cloud-based data storage with easy-to-use access controls and file locking and versioning mechanisms for security when working in multi-member teams. When a user has a file drawing open, lock icons will be visible in both Docs through the online portal and from the Start menu in Civil 3D. So let's take a look at Civil 3D here. I have a drawing called Main Site, which is part of our project that Scott has been discussing earlier. Now I've got this open via our cloud Autodesk Docs hub. So when I take a look at the Start menu, I'll be able to notice that in Autodesk Docs, I've got a lock icon indicating that the file is in use. It's letting me know who opened that file and when that file was being accessed. Going into the Docs portal here through our same Civil Team file folder, which was set up under the main project, I also see that that file is listed as locked by Matt or by myself, and on May 12th at the time that I opened it up. So it's been open for quite a while here. I can see that it's in use, so there's no chance of someone else trying to open that and accessing the data while I'm working it. Additionally, the existing workflows within Civil 3D for data shortcuts and external references are supported through the cloud using Autodesk Docs with BIM Collaborate Pro. This eliminates the map to drive requirement. That was a limitation of data shortcuts where we had to stick to local drives or internal mapped network drives. And that functionality is very, very readily available right there through Civil 3D by setting our working folders through the same workflows as previous, but now we do have an option to choose an Autodesk Docs project for the location of our working folder. And by navigating to our project hub and to my Civil project files folder, I can set my data shortcut working folder path to our cloud location. And that now supports data shortcuts in the cloud. Along with access, we also need access control. Autodesk Docs provides project team members who have BIM Collaborate or Collaborate Pro entitlements to access our project, and they can be removed or added as needed with multiple options for folder and file access. As Scott had shown earlier, we have multiple different levels of permissions configurable by a user or the role they provide within our project, or also by a company as a whole. These predefined roles make it very, very quick to access and assign these entitlements to different project members as they're added to the project. And these access permissions are automatically applied to subfolders as they're created as well. So if a civil engineering company has access to a civil folder, any subfolders within that will automatically be provided the same level of access as they have to the parent folder. Communicating concerns and relaying design change information is another key component of successful collaboration. Through Autodesk Docs, we have the ability to identify and assign design concerns by creating issues, as Scott had shown, and we can also add comments and markups live within the online portal using some built-in markup tools. We also have customizable multi-step review workflows that can be set up within Docs projects to ensure that our design reviews go through the proper channels. And when files are ready for construction documentation, they can quickly be selected and submitted for review, sending them through a predefined process. And after that process is approved, we also have the ability to automatically copy them into documentation folders as well. Let's take a look at that in Docs itself. So as I see with our main site drawing, looking at it through the portal, I have a column that's marked up, or that is called markups. And I can see that I have 2 personal markups, which are visible only to myself, and also 4 published markups, which then become visible to anyone else within the project team that has access to this folder. As I take a look at this particular file in the online viewer, I can see that I have a 3D view, very similar to how I would view a civil 3D drawing within the object viewer itself. And from our sheet views, I can see that I have a architectural sheet with some markups. There are a couple of these markups that are darker than others. Those are the published markups that are linked to an issue here as well. So I can communicate this to my design team. In this case, it's just myself, but I can mark it up there and send myself a reminder that this needs to be updated for future reference. So I've got a couple of markups, adding a view label for this and scale info, adding my general plan information for the title sheet. And then I've just got an internal note here that says, to remind myself that I need to include some individual sheet notes down the line. And since this is an issue that was included in the project itself, I am able to see that on my list of issues here. So just like we saw earlier, if I were to select the issues from the left panel, I'd be able to see all of the current issues for the project, as well as different status, and also identify the ones that are assigned to me. Now, these issues can be assigned to track changes within the design group itself, and in the case that I just shown just for our civil sheet, or it can also extend to collaborative design teams across the project to address design deficiencies or conflicts, like Scott had shown with the drainage dock. So if I take a look at that, or the loading dock, excuse me, if I take a look at that, I see issue number 21. When I take a look at that particular issue itself, I can see the notes here. I've got a conflict between a pressure pipe and the loading dock. If I zoom or scroll down there and I take a look at the link to the image, I can see very clearly that my pressure pipe is conflicting with 2 of the structural walls there. So I do need to address that concern. It's an issue that's been flagged and marked for me. As that issue was assigned, I also received an email that lets me know there is an item that needs my attention, with a link that takes me back to this page as well. So if I were to take a look at that in Civil 3D, looking at my project file, I can zoom into that area where the loading dock is, and I can pretty clearly see which pipe segment that is. So from a civil design standpoint, I need to fix that. So I'll go ahead and make a quick edit to my pipe system there. I'll just make sure that I extend out, putting in a 90-degree bend instead of what it was before. That resolves the conflict. I may still have something going on there, but hopefully that'll resolve itself as we go along. So now that this has been addressed, I would need to save this to my Civil folder. So by publishing that back out to the Civil folder within our Autodesk Docs project, I'll see a new version pop up in the online portal. I also need to then export a new clash detection model. So I'm going to export a cleaned up file with just the pipe system that I can then post back to my clashes folder, where Scott can rerun the clash and resolve or see that the issue is resolved. I also want to make sure that I address the issue itself. So when I go back to this, I'm going to want to make sure that I respond to that, and I'll say status is pending because I have gone ahead and fixed that. As that gets saved, we'll get notified and we'll be able to see that that has been addressed and our concerns are fixed, hopefully, in this case. Another issue that I've got here is one that's called general plan missing sheet information. So that's the one that I had shown earlier, where I just have internal to my design team, I had some missing information on that sheet file that I was looking at. So just as a documented reminder, I went ahead and I created an issue for myself and I assigned that. And I can see that that list is there. So once I go ahead and add that information to the sheet and repost it to our project, I would then address this as well. And I can say that that one's closed because no one else needs to review that one besides me, as that was just an internal reminder for myself. Now, when we look at clash detection and Civil 3D and Revit within the realm of Autodesk Docs, we are trying to find out information for multiple model data. And by publishing out a pipes specific drawing file that was relevant for the location of our Revit drawing file, the clash detection feature automatically ran within our clashes folder, and it was able to detect that location where the conflict was. Now, once that conflict was identified, that's where Scott went ahead and created that issue where it was assigned then to me, and I was able to go back and address that within my design itself, republish my Civil 3D drawing to the site, and then also repost a pipe specific clash detection file that could be used to cross-check our clashes within the project. So that is where we have our clash detection and issues that can be assigned beyond our design team. With that said, I will hand it back over to Scott.
All right, thank you very much. So again, we really want to thank everyone for your attendance today. And if you have any other questions here, you can of course go to resources.imagineit.com and just select the specific industry that you'd like information on, whether it be the building industry or construction, any of those things. And we have other links to white papers, other webinars and things that we may be doing. And then finally here, I'd like to pause and open it up for questions and answers.